Welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. We discuss 6 questions in 9 minutes because leaders know how to be concise. Let's jump right to it today. First question, in a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
My name is Mike Langford. I run a company called finservMarketing. We're currently building a podcast network for fintech and financial services companies.
Fantastic. Well, question number 2, what's the best thing about working with a team?
You know, it's funny. I had to think about this one for a little while, but my favorite thing I think about working with a team is tapping into the brain power of other people, right? And, sometimes it's just their intelligence and their expertise and so forth, but other times it's just kind of their observations, their emotional responses to things. The fact that people think differently than me, which is probably a lot of people, I guess, but it's a really cool thing. Just having that extra brain power makes working with a team very rewarding.
Yeah, and that's where that diversity, we sometimes think of diversity in terms of race or religion or whatever, but you're absolutely right. I really like what you said, because it really is also just the diversity of thought.
Yeah.
And when you have all of those different perspectives coming in, the collaboration just goes through the roof in a really good way. So that's
right.
I love that comment. Great comment. Well, question number 3, I hear from other leaders of teams that it can be a challenge to get team members engaged. Tell us your thoughts.
It's interesting to me because I've seen it many times in my career. People are engaged with the things that they believe in, right? So if you're on a project or if you're working for a company and you feel good about that project, that company, you feel good about the people you work with, you're going to be highly engaged, right? But when think about the times you've seen people who have checked out, and we've all been around, and you're not bringing that guy or that lady back into the fold. They're just like, they're out like 5:01 and they're already out the door and all that type of, back when we used to work in offices, people check out when something's wrong, when either the vision for the company's not working, the project just stinks and they just know it's never going to be successful. They're working on something meaningless, or they're working with some people who are just off-putting to them, right? They just hostile. It could be a hostile work environment, or just could be somebody who's just some work habits, that style that doesn't gel with them. But that's, to me, it's if they believe in something, you'll be engaged.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, question number 4, what other piece of advice would you give to leaders of teams?
Oh, this is my favorite one. I came out you asked that question. I got to think about it because this is something I did. I don't know where I picked this up, to be honest with you, but I've gotten really good at it. So I'm pretty proud of it, is making people feel like they're a star in their role. I do know when I picked up that phrase, I was watching we watch a lot of basketball. We're big basketball fans in this house. And Tristan Thompson, who was on the Cavaliers, the championship Cavaliers when LeBron was there, he talked about, be a star in your role. He learned that early on. And even though his job was to rebound, it wasn't to be an elite scorer or anything. It was to kind of bang the boards and kind of do the dirty work, if you will. Be a star in your role. And for me, I've noticed a long time ago in my career that I can get way more productivity out of people. I can get people to buy in and to believe and be engaged with me if they know that I think they're a star in their role and what they're doing. And so I do little things like, in a meeting, say like, hey, Carla, you're the one who's the expert here. Would you mind sharing something on that? Or hey, I want to get your thought on this because I really, you're the one I trust on this, or that type of stuff, right? It's not false praise. It's not, fake, like, good job, buddy, that type of stuff. It really is like recognizing, like, where is this person really smart? Where do they take pride in their work? Oh, you're really detail oriented. You know what I really appreciate about you is like, everything's always so orderly when it comes to me. Thank you very much. Little things like that. You notice like the person walks a little higher up afterward, like straighten up a little bit. And I've honed that over the years, and it's really done well for me. Very rarely do I have people who I work with, they're like, I don't like working with Mike, right? Or working for Mike. So that's my big one.
Well, I just met you and I enjoy being with you. So it's been some time. So I can tell that others would enjoy it as well. But what great advice, because you're absolutely right. We need to make it genuine, and it needs to be authentic. It needs to be accurate. It can't be false praise, because people will know. But boy, and you do it so smoothly too, and in a very genuine way. It's just, hey, you're the expert on this. A comment like that is such a great way to lift someone and help them feel empowered and to feel like the expert in whatever role they're playing. So that's a great concept. Question number 5. What other successful team leaders, such as yourself, would you like to recognize that have had a positive influence in your life?
It's interesting. I didn't think about, past influences. I've had lots of them, right? So, I was really, really lucky in my very early days. I was 26 years old and I got to work for the chief financial officer of State Street Corporation, which is a global company, right? So I'd have the, young dude being able to walk into this, global leader's office and hang out with them type of thing. So that was really, really cool for me and very influential for me, obviously. But one of the ones I wanted to recognize on your show, you sent over this question. I actually just interviewed this guy yesterday on the SoFine podcast that'll be published next week. His name is Matt Reiner, and he and his team have built a company called Benjamin, and it is an artificial intelligence driven assistant for financial advisors, right? So it's kind of like just think of it as a tool. You can tell it to schedule meetings for people and all that type of stuff, and it takes care of that type of stuff. What was really interesting about the conversation, and I think you'll like hearing this, he had a little bit of those, come to Jesus moments, a few of those in his days, because he was a financial advisor. He had grown up in the wealth management space. His dad built a big business, and he was involved in that from a young age, started his career there, and he decided to start a tech company. And lots of things are really different in the tech space than they are in the wealth management space. And he admittedly stepped in it, not only not knowing what to do to build a tech company and how to do it effectively, but also not knowing how to manage the team the right way to get the results they were looking for. And so he had, a lot of humbling moments that forced him to grow. And it was really cool to have that conversation with him. So how he grew through the process. So I was really kind of only just met Matt, via this type of stuff, but it was kind of like, I'm kind of proud of you to hear that type of stuff because many leaders don't pick up on that.
Right. Well, he sounds like a great individual, so I'd love to chat with him at some point.
Yeah, I'll connect you with him. It'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Well, last question. Tell us about your first job.
All right. So I had to think. So initially I was like, I bagged groceries. That was one of my first, but actually there was a job before that. My dad used to work at a factory in Boston, and he got me a summer job, working at the factory, taking care of the gigantic courtyard they had there, which is for the workers, right? So they had thousands of workers working at this factory. And so they had this multi-acre courtyard that was incredibly beautifully landscaped, and they had a basketball court and all that type of stuff. But it was my job, and I worked a 40-hour work week doing this job, mowing lawns, trimming hedges, weeding the bricks and all that type of stuff. It was interesting too, because I had mowed lawns like every kid to make some money. I'd shoveled driveways growing up in the Boston area. I was kind of a, scrappy kid that way, always looking to have some money in my pockets to doing that stuff. But it was the first time that I was accountable to somebody else other than dad, and that person would come out and go, you didn't do a good job here. You got to do more of this. So it was really, really cool. Very, I've had all the tough jobs, the stuff that, I've mowed lawns, landscaping. I've been a janitor, pumped gas, worked in a grocery store, did other retail. I've never had the restaurant job though. I kind of missed that one, but maybe in my future life.
Well, I did do a little bit of time in the restaurant world, as well as mow lawns and shovel and all those kinds of things. But yeah, each as you know, each one has their challenges there. So we learn from all of them. It's a great thing.
Right. Builds your character. You learn little lessons it's really funny about that, to kind of close out on that. There were a little less, I find myself thinking about some of those things, even when I'm doing, whether it's podcasting work or whatever, like little attention to details, right? Of like, do I like the way that sound afterwards? Like of just commitment to quality that you picked up mowing lawns. Like it was very therapeutic almost, if you will, when you'd finish mowing the lawn and you'd look back and you had the stripes just right. Like, oh, that's good stuff right there. It felt great, And so I sometimes think that way when I'm, recording a podcast or doing some other level of work, that you look back and you go, oh, that's legit. That feels good.
Yeah, those are, I do the same thing. And those are great experiences when you can kind of look back and go, yeah, I can take that little piece and
Yeah.
apply it to here. And
Yeah.
yeah, we don't realize sometimes until we get a little bit older how impactful those early jobs can be on just little
Yeah.
basic principles. So,
That's awesome.
well, Mike, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. How can people find you?
I'm really easy to find. So I am at Mike Langford, like literally everywhere on social media. So if you find an at Mike Langford, it's and bald and handsome like this. Probably it's me. I'm also, email's easy, Mike at finservMarketing.com. I'm very active again on social. So LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you'll find me on the Instagram. You'll start to see all the pictures of the new puppy we just adopted. So that's me. If you see the puppy pictures.
There we go. That's great. Well, thank you.
My pleasure.
This is Sean Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. For more ideas, you can find us on LinkedIn by searching Blue Sky Business Consulting. Thanks so much for joining us today. Have a great day.